Well, this is it. This is the final unit in this writing course. I hope you feel that you have learned a trick or two about how to write an essay and are more confident in being able to put an English composition together. Also, through the Dictogloss activities, it was my goal for you to not only improve your listening skills, but help you think more about how to improve the grammatical accuracy of your English as well. In this final unit, we are going to cover the topic of internet hoaxes and talk about the structure of giving a warning. There isn't really much new to tell you in this unit. Rather, we will just reflect on what we have learned through this course, and then hopefully you'll be able to show me in the writing topic just how much you have improved. Let's start. Again, I'm going to give you the topic for our Dictogloss this week. This may be a little tough, so I suggest you do a little research before class so you'll have a little background knowledge about the topic before we get around to doing the activity. I'll then guide you to watch a video of one of, if not the most famous April Fool's jokes in television history. After this, as usual, we'll have a quick look at the structure, the text, your homework, and finally, I will present this week's composition topic. So the Dictogloss activity is going to be about Central Hall subway station. Have a look on the internet so you will have a bit of an idea of what I am talking about. April Fool's jokes are very popular. A couple of years ago, actually it was in 1957, the BBC in England did a prank. They made a short story about something called spaghetti trees. When we look at the video now, it seems unbelievable, but in fact, after the short program, apparently hundreds of people called the BBC asking where they could buy spaghetti trees. Some even asked if they could grow one at home. To this question, people at the BBC replied, "Sure, just plant a stick of spaghetti in a can of tomatoes and hope for the best." Anyway, here is the video. Start at YouTube, search BBC spaghetti trees, and you'll find a thumbnail that looks like this. Now remember, this is from 1957, so the quality isn't that hot, but it is still worth having a look at. As we read through today's passage, I hope to see this kind of structure. First, we should have an introduction with background information and a thesis statement, showing the purpose of this article. Then, each paragraph should explain what the hoax was, followed by a story related to that hoax. Finally, at the end of the composition, we should see a conclusion with, for example, some advice warning the reader not to fall for such hoaxes. Let's see if the passage does indeed follow this structure. We have a good start with the introduction. There is plenty of background information as shown in green here. The introduction is complete with a thesis statement, albeit very simple, explaining that this composition is going to show the reader 3 examples of internet hoaxes. My challenge for you is to write a thesis statement as clear as this one, but in a little more creative way. The first example here shows the structure I'd like to see within each paragraph very clearly. First, we have an introduction that tells the reader about the content of this paragraph. Then, we have the details, which is told like a story. Remember that the middle part of each paragraph can be told like a story, which often makes it easier to follow. Then finally, the paragraph is completed with a sentence telling the reader what happened in the end. We see the same structure in this example. By now, I imagine you should be able to find the three parts yourself. So I'll give you 10 seconds or so to think about each part of this paragraph. The introduction is here in blue, with details in the middle here in green. Finally, the concluding sentence and the reason why this was a hoax is here in orange. This third example is a little different to the others. The introductory sentence in blue here doesn't clearly show the content of the paragraph other than that it was a hoax done via email. The body of this paragraph is very detailed, with concrete figures to help the reader create an image of how the hoax worked. Finally, however, there is no conclusion, suggesting this hoax may still exist. For the overall passage, there is no conclusion. The writer could have discussed a couple of possible hoaxes in the future, or give a short summary, which is admittedly a little difficult in this kind of composition. A good conclusion might have been to give some advice to the reader so he or she doesn't fall for a hoax in the future. Here is your homework for this week. This is the last lesson in this course, so make sure you finish strongly and get this in on time. Well, here is your final writing topic. You have probably seen this before. In fact, you have seen this before. You did this earlier in the course. But because you are much better at writing English compositions now, I want you to show me, and more importantly show yourself, just how much you have improved. Go to YouTube and search "A Day Made of Glass 2. The thumbnail will look like this. Watch this video and then, just like last time, I want you to discuss your opinion about whether you think the inventions shown in the video will be good for the environment or not. You are welcome to go back and look at your composition from Unit 2, but I don't want you to copy and paste, of course. Think about what you have learned throughout this course and put together a really good composition. See you in class.